Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you my no-buy update. This is a reflection on August and how that month went. I'll talk about what I bought, and I think one of the big questions that was up in the air last month was, am I going to be continuing my no-buy? So I will be answering the question of whether I will continue it or not. I am going to talk about a couple of products that I'm lusting after right now, and then a little bit of a update, like what's going on this month. Hey, I know I'm looking a little bit different, but I'm just in here to jump in really quick to talk to you about this exciting project. I created a second channel. It's called More Shauna. The link will be in the description. Here's my little thumbnail. More Shauna is my outlet for any kind of creative project or content that I'm interested in working on at the moment. There will be no makeup content or fashion content over there. It's everything else. Anything that I feel inspired or create, like kind of gets the creative juices flowing, and anything that kind of falls outside of those two realms. I moved over one of my dorm videos to that channel. It didn't really feel appropriate for my channel. And then I also have a summer grocery haul currently over there. So you might see grocery videos over there. You might see vlogs over there. You might see reading content. Or if there's like anything else I want to dabble in, it will be there. So if you want to watch more content from me, feel free to subscribe. If it's not your jam, don't worry about it. It's just all about being creative and like having an outlet for whatever I want and like whatever's fun. And I really wanted to do a grocery haul and just kind of felt inspired by what I was making that week. So I'd love to have you if you're interested. If not, we're all good. So back to the video. Let's talk first about what I bought. There's a couple of replacements in here, so I'll talk about those first. And the first thing up is a shampoo and conditioner combo. This is from the brand Monday. This is for like thin and fine hair. I have the shampoo and the conditioner. These were on sale for $5.99 each. I have been eyeing these for a few months. I started seeing them maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and then I felt like I really became aware of them like maybe 3 months ago, and I always felt like I want to try those one day. They are paraben free, cruelty free, SLS free, and they have a really light fragrance. They are made from recycled plastic, and they are dermatologically tested. I think these are pretty cute, and you get a pretty good amount of product, 354 mils. And I've really been looking for like shampoo and conditioner that is volumizing. So this was the pick. I got them for $5.99 each. Their regular price at Walmart, $7.99. I've seen them more expensive elsewhere, like $8 and $9.99. So I got those about a week ago. I'm maybe a week away from finishing my shampoo and conditioner. When does it ever happen that they finish at the same time? So I was okay buying them like maybe 2 weeks earlier than I needed to, because they were on sale and I wanted to buy them. So it made purchasing something I was already going to buy a little sweeter. The next replacement is this cleansing oil. I'm just about finished with my current cleansing oil. It's the cocoa kind, like oat milk oil cleanser. So this one is the Palmer Skin Cleansing Oil. This one has grapeseed, jojoba, rosehip, and vitamin C. I have been like so picky with cleansing oils, and the cocoa kind one was nice. It was just expensive for the amount of product. This one has at least 2 times the product, and it's half the price. I get that you're buying into a more ethical company with cocoa kind. I get it, but that's just not in my budget, and I got that one on sale. But the price of that, I think it's $25 regular price. It's just not in my budget for how quickly I use those kinds of products. I am somebody who likes an oil opposed to a balm. That's what I've liked most in the past. And this product had like 20,000 4-star reviews. This was over 4 stars. So I'm really hoping that I will like this. My favorite cleansing product that I've tried so far has been from the Body Shop, but I've had a little bit of trepidation about supporting that brand. So that one was like a pump style oil, so I'm hoping that this one will be similar. It also seems to have some pretty good ingredients. The last replacement is my Essence Lash Princess. This was about $4. My other mascara finally went. So I tried this a couple of years ago, maybe 3, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. I felt like it was good but not great. And I was like, you know what? It's been a long time. Like, I don't really even remember why I felt that way about it. I think it's time to give it a try. I really love this mascara. I think it's awesome, and it's really giving my L'Oreal Telescopic a run for its money. The only downside about this product is that it is so hard to get off. When I wear it, even with the cleansing oil that I had before, it just like was so stubborn. I'm a little bit cautious about using this because while I love the way it looks, it just never comes off my lashes when I put it on. So that gives me a little hesitation about wearing it. But that aside, it's been kind of awesome. All right, so 3 products that weren't replacements, but I bought on a gift card. I met up with some friends earlier in the month and they gave me a birthday gift, which was a gift card, and I still actually have quite a bit of money left on it. So I decided to buy a couple of products that were on my wish list, if you will. Things that I couldn't buy in a no buy because I don't meet that criteria, but things that I knew I would use and things that I was kind of missing. So you would have seen all of these if you've watched some of my videos over the past month. The first is this NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powder. My favorite pressed powder. It's getting a little bit washed out in the camera, but this is actually pretty close to my skin color. I go through a couple of the colors depending on where my skin tone is at in the season, and nude is one of my go-to colors. So happy to have this back. I'm sure I will stray sometime in the future, but like, I love this so much. I knew it was my favorite, and having it back, I was like, oh, thank gosh, I love this so much. The next thing that I bought was a nude eyeliner. This is from L'Oreal Infallible. This is their longwear eye pencil. It's just in the nude shade, and I bought this because I was looking for a couple of drugstore products for a video, but I do wear and love nude eyeliners, so this will get used up eventually. But what I found is that the Marc Jacobs eyeliner that I currently have is just like a little too pigmented and a little too pink, so I was hoping to find something similar that was nude, and this did not disappoint. It's been really awesome. It's so pigmented. Look at that color. It was so pigmented, went on so creamy. And look at this. I just put it on. Like, it does not budge. It's really great. So this has been like, I've never heard anybody talk about this, and this was such a great discovery. The last thing I bought is this bronzer, which you would have seen in the same video as the other products. It's the City Bronzer by Maybelline. This is in the shade 200. It's definitely like fairly dark, but I think it blends out really nicely. This bronzer has the slightest shimmer, which is exactly what I love in a bronzer. So I've used this a handful of times. It's been great, and I was looking for a replacement bronzer to my Annabelle Biggie bronzer. That's like a Canadian brand. They have 2 shades. Like, that brand has made no attempts at being inclusive. And while a lot of drugstore brands are far from perfect, I don't have to make a bronzer decision for a while, but I'm kind of considering, like, do I buy bronzers from the drugstore anymore, period? I don't know. I've always bought bronzers from the drugstore, same with powders, and I go through powders too quickly to buy high-end, whereas bronzers, they do last a little while. Same thing with blushes. A lot of brands have a pretty decent blush formula. They have a couple of colors that are good for a wider variety of skin tones, whereas bronzer tends to be one of the categories that is lacking a lot in most drugstore. I don't know what the play is on that one, so I'm gonna have to think some more before buying anything other bronzers. But again, I think it's gonna be a while before I have to do that. I want to talk about a couple of things I've been lusting after. The first is the Natasha Denona Retro palette. At this point, everybody said it. Retro is not the right name for this palette, but it's still beautiful. And I really want this palette. Like, I really want this palette. And whether or not I actually get it remains to be seen. I think it's my color story. I think I would use most of the shades, and I like the formula. I can't say that I have anything else like this, equivalent or similar. The closest things I have would be that 3CE eyeshadow palette, which is not really berry, but has some of those like pinky colors, as well as the Natasha Denona, not Natasha Denona, the Huda Beauty light palette. That one has like pinks and purples, but tonally they feel really different. There is going to be no purchasing on that like now. I've watched a ton of reviews, and at first I was really enamored with the color story, and then I watched a couple of reviews and then was like, I don't know if this is for me. And then I watched one by, I think it's Mandy Leah. She has a similar skin tone and makeup style to me. And what I realized was that I was watching a lot of people do these like really big, bold, glam looks. So I wasn't loving any of the looks that they created, even though I like the swatches. Then I watched her and I was like, all of these looks are things that I could see myself. And there's a couple of colors that I didn't know if I would actually like in reality, and then I watched her use them and I'm like, okay, like I could see myself using. When you're in that moment of lust after something, that's the worst time to buy it, because sometimes it's hard to see through whether you just objectively like a color story, like you think these colors look good together. There's a difference between that and actually finding them wearable or interesting enough to put on your eyes. I've fallen for this where I like a color story and I've only thought about the colors as a color story and not about actual colors I'd wear on my eyes, and if I would wear them on my eyes and if I would like them, all that. So this is not the time to buy the palette, and I just need like more separation before making any decisions either way. The Bite lipsticks, they have a cool name, like the Power Mattes or something like that. Those are so catching my eye. They have so many beautiful colors, and I love Bite lipsticks. I watched again a ton of videos on those, and I really want them. There's a shade Radicchio that I think is the one that I want the most. It could not be buying more than one at the same time. I know, like I've learned my lesson, but so many of the colors are looking so beautiful, and so much more evaluation would have to go into whether there's a place for these lipsticks in my collection or not. But those are like high up there too. And the last thing is not something that's super new. It's the Makeup by Mario blush in Mellow Mauve. That color is so beautiful, and I really feel like there'd be a good place for that kind of color and tone in my collection. And those blushes have really great reviews. I don't think I could see them anytime soon, any of these products in store anytime soon, so I'm not sure either way. But these are what's getting me at the moment. I would love to know what you're lusting after right now. There's a few drugstore items on my radar too, and I find this particularly exciting because there's a bunch of things that have been on my radar for a while, like the lifter glosses, that I'm kind of excited to purchase. The ones that I wanted, they were out of stock online. The one that I wanted was out of stock online when I went to go purchase the other makeup things. So I was so bummed about it that I couldn't try it. I have been wanting these for like close to a year now. And so many of you have wrote into the comments about the fact that you think I would like these. And I've watched every review under the sun. I'm just like, I'm very intrigued about these. And I just want to try them. There's a Maybelline Super Stay crayon. I don't remember the shade name. I'll put it on the screen. I've wanted to try these for a while, and there was one color when I was watching swatch videos that really caught my eye. I don't know if I will buy it. Like, that remains to be seen, but that's a color I'm like, I could totally get into. And I think this year, or at least this fall, winter, is going to be the season of mauves for me. I'm so into that right now. But I also don't want to go too off the deep end and buy all the mauve things and then regret it later. That made me think of Blink-182. Yeah, and the last thing I've been really interested in from the drugstore is the Makeup Revolution Forever Flawless Allure palette. Not totally sure about this. I've not seen this one in person, but I've seen a lot of swatches on it. And I've wanted this palette too for about a year, since I saw it first on Tara Brooke, and I think she actually recently decluttered this. This is a palette that I think would also be one that I really like. I do like the berry tones, and that one does have berries and more like neutrally browns too. One video I watched recently compared it with the new nudes palette. I have watched a couple of videos on this palette. There are some videos on it, but it's not so big like the Natasha Denona, where there's reviews by like every channel out there. And I didn't realize it when I first saw this palette that this is, I think, Makeup Revolution's take on the new nudes palette. So when I heard that, I was a little nervous because I decluttered my new nudes palette. And what I realized with the swatching is that all the things I didn't like about the new nudes palette, those like darker glitter topper shades, the cream concealer, all those are gone with metallics. I don't love every color in that palette, so I don't know if it's worth it, but it's on the radar. I was also thinking in this video, what's the difference between something that I'm lusting after and something that I know is good? Like, how do I make that distinction? And I think coming up with that criteria is helpful, because I don't want to purchase something just based on lust. And for me, lust is like, you know, that infatuation. I see it and I want it immediately. It's something that immediately calls to you. Like your heartstrings are pulled. Your heartstrings are pulled. Like you're immediately just infatuated, and it's that immediate, I want that. This can apply to high-end and drugstore products. I think in the past I haven't been as critical about my lust for drugstore products because they are more affordable, so it's not as bad. But you can overconsume thrifted items or drugstore items just like you can high-end. Like, it happens. How do I know when something is out of the lust category? It's after some time has passed, usually 1 to 2 weeks. Some things, it's just like it has to be more time. I never want to buy anything when I'm in the lusting stage. I'm not 100% perfect on that, but I am better, because when you're just in that lust, you can't see the lust for the lust. You can't see the trees for the forest, or you can't see the forest for the trees, whatever that saying is. And ways, I think, to like shake the lust, I mean, it is the time, but also watching reviews, watching a lot of reviews, because you also are informing yourself on what this looks like on somebody with your skin tone, or somebody with your eyeshadow preferences. That's always helpful. And also when it comes to some products, people will review it with other things that they already own. And the last thing is like doing a deep dive into my collection to see if there's overlap and if this has a place. And if I haven't answered that question, is there overlap and does it have a place, it means I haven't thought critically about this purchase, which sometimes means I don't want to because I just want the thing. And if I'm not willing to think about this purchase basically at all, then it's usually a lust. And if I am unable to say anything bad about a palette, then I'm still in the lusting stages. With Natasha Denona, I'm still in the lusting stages. As for the Bite lipsticks, I don't think I'm in the lusting stages. I think I'm maybe like on the tail end, because I'm now like, okay, there are colors that are unique that I don't own anywhere else, but is this matte formula something I want to try? Do I have occasions to wear this to beyond YouTube videos? I don't know. So I think we're close with going one way or the other on that one. The next thing to talk about is, will I continue my no buy? I wasn't sure last month, and in that video I talked through some of my reasoning, and by the end of that video I felt pretty sure on the decision that I would make. I just wanted some more time to think about it. I'm somebody who often like processes through talking, which I think is why I'm so chatty in these videos, in most videos. I decided that I will not continue my no buy. This does not mean an end to these update videos. I find these update videos really helpful in a place for accountability too, and I really love them and enjoy them, and I feel like you as a community do as well. So I'm still gonna have these videos to talk about what I purchased, and it's gonna be continue to be like that makeup, skincare, hair care focused kind of video, or kind of products I'll be talking about. I'm gonna keep the fashion separate. I'm really working on only buying, like having a short window of buying for my capsule, to be intentional and then to not shop so much. So I think the fashion is going to be separate unless there's like a standout item. If you were here back in January or February, you would remember the great like fanny pack. I don't know. My Lululemon belt bag or fanny pack is like the best purchase of the year. Still, we're in September. I almost said August. We're in September and it's still the best purchase of the year. Something like that would appear in this video, but there are a few things I think would meet that high of an amazing standard. Or those Aritzia socks. I loved those Aritzia socks. I still do. It's been a hot minute and I still love them. I would still bring stuff like that to these videos, but for the most part, probably like 90 to 99% of the stuff is going to be like that makeup, skincare, hair care kind of content. The reason why I decided that I'm going to end my no buy is for exactly what I said last time, that my biggest goal, the thing I need to work on the most, is my relationship to spending. A no buy is great to help you stop spending, but it hasn't given me all the tools I need to spend carefully. I am much more thoughtful about my spending, but there have been mistakes, there have been issues that honestly need to be repaired, that I haven't spent the time I needed to repair them, to budget across the board, to really eliminate any kind of stress spending or any kind of, okay, impulse not so much, but like stress spending and destructive spending are things that are not over at the moment, and I've made some choices that I should not have out of stress, anxiety, and like distress, or you know, those kinds of things. There really hasn't been much boredom scrolling or buying. That's not an issue. It's everything else I just said. There's more here than budgeting. I think there's more to learn with money, my relationship to money, and I've done a good job at curating my collection and working hard at learning my preferences, but that's also not all here too. Like that's not everything either, because I also have so much guilt about buying anything and then bringing it and showing it. And I feel like people would just be disappointed because I got anything new, and I'm like betraying myself. That's something, or like I'm betraying you. That's something I have to get over. I feel nervous bringing anything new onto the channel. And while I'm never going to be a haul channel, there are places for a haul. A haul to me is any time where there's more than 3 things that you bought. So I feel like that I need to get over some of that to myself, and I stand by all of these purchases, and I don't want to have to continue to justify to myself the fact that I bought things. And then in some ways it almost feels like I don't trust myself and why I bought something. And I kind of want to examine that too. Part of that process and that examination is going to come from being able to buy stuff. I don't expect to be perfect. I just expect to do my best. Like, you can't do better than your best. You can't expect yourself to do better than your best. You can't expect more than that. And so I don't think I had that opportunity to really fully explore that in the first part of the year. And the best way to learn is by practice and by doing. And that's exactly what I feel like I need. So again, these kinds of videos, reflection and sharing what I got, aren't going to go anywhere. They're going to look the same. And I'm going to talk about what I bought and why and how I'm doing. It's just not going to be as rigid. Let's talk about what's new life updates. The first thing I want to talk about is an internship. A couple months ago, I declared pretty publicly that I want to do something different with my life than what I'm currently doing. And I initially, after that, okay, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is the thing? I spent a couple of weeks emailing people and reaching out to people, things that I felt like I would want to do and I would be good at. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, if you are thinking about getting into a new career or a new job, or like you're thinking of switching careers or going back to school for something, you should reach out to people in your industry. Like, you should pick their brains. I don't know if you've heard this a lot. I've had this recommended to me personally, and there was a book I was reading that suggested to do that too. Just about everybody who I emailed said no, and a couple were really rude about it too. My emails were quite polite. There's a lot of folks out there who feel like their time is valuable and that they shouldn't be spending their time like unpaid talking to other people or allowing them to pick their brain. I'm not here to say that those women are wrong, and I don't want to devalue their time and their skill, but based on the number of times I've been told to do that and read about doing that, was a little surprised at the amount of resistance I encountered in that field. And it left me questioning a lot about, like, am I devaluing somebody's time or not respecting their time and their talent by asking to talk with them? And if I wanted to talk to them, like, is there a way to do that that is more respectful of their boundaries? So after I was able to talk to 2 people, and it was quite helpful to hear perspectives. And the second person I talked to, after telling her my goals, like what I'm doing, why I was reaching out, she actually offered me an internship. And she is launching a new aspect to her business, and I felt like it could be a good partnership for us both, where I could help her and she could teach me at the same time. And so we kind of did an informal interview, and I've been working for her for about 3 weeks now. So I accepted, and it's been really great because she has been teaching me. She has been showing me the ins and outs of her business, and her business is explicitly grounded in feminism and like intersectionality, which is like great to work for somebody who feels that way. And so part of her thinking and things that like we challenge each other on like are ingrained in those beliefs. One of the things that she's done particularly is talk about taboo subjects in the field, like being open about finances. And that's something that was like hard to even like get around or like get even close to, because I feel like a lot of people are protective of that information, and she felt like that was important for me to know. Anyways, I can't be more specific than that about who I'm working for at the moment, but what I can say is that I've learned so much in 3 weeks about running a small business, everything that's entailed. And this particular person that I've been working for, like she has so much She is so well informed, she's so knowledgeable, and like she clearly has experience under her belt, and learning from her has been such a privilege, and she's provided a lot of support. And in just 3 weeks I've learned so much, things I would want, things I wouldn't, and it feels really empowering to actively try and figure out your dreams, to be like, this is a thing that I think I would be good at, that I'm pretty sure is my dream. Let me go test it out. And I'm working on somebody else's business and like projects that are going to be out there in the world to try and test that. There's nothing more empowering than saying, this is what I want, and going out and getting it. And there's something to be said of just like starting your own business right off the ground. Part of me just wasn't sure if this was what I wanted to do. And I still have, I have no regrets about doing what I'm doing, because I don't think I could have learned as much as quick doing it by myself. And it's also rewarding helping somebody to grow their business and participating in what I can there. It's me a little bit later. I got in a new headband. I think it's cute. I initially had some content in here that talked about COVID, and I just can't include it. It was like too stressful to talk about. I was way too negative and like anxious about this whole thing. Ultimately, I don't need to share everything about my life, and if things just stress me out, it's not worth it. And I don't want to stress anybody else out. I can't put any more time and energy into thinking about it or editing that kind of content. So sorry if the video kind of just like cuts out in a way that's not natural. My apologies. And the thing after that was like a little bit chatting about the gym. The gym was like such a great and positive part of August, but has now also become such a big question mark because of COVID. And my gym was doing an excellent job cleaning and sanitizing. I had like this whole section talking about that. And despite that, not everybody is. And talking about the gym at all just like also has brought up lots of question marks, and a lot of like makes me think of COVID. And I don't exactly know what the play is on that, but I just like, that's also going to be taken out too, to leave on a positive note. Or I guess something that like I don't like leave here and automatically just go back and think about COVID. I've been thinking about cutting my hair again. Alex Bledel has a similar hair like texture to me. She has like very thin and fine hair. It was Rory in the Gilmore Girls where I noticed that we have this like similar hair texture, and I saw her in her, I hope this is not a spoiler. If you don't want to hear about the Gilmore Girls, then like don't watch this next part. I saw her when she was going to Yale, and she got that bob, and because we have such similar hair, I was like, ooh, I would love that. I'm gonna put like a picture here of one of my favorite hairstyles of hers. I would love to know your thoughts. I mean, I did have short hair for a long time, and I kind of love this length, and this is like a bit of like preppy vibes, and I kind of have been loving my hair, but I always feel like fall time. I know, I'm just like looking myself in the viewfinder. I know fall time is often that place of like, a change would be great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.